Pepper balls. Good morning. Good morning, boys and girls, friends, lovers, children of all ages. My name is Brian Loma, aka Cut The Plastic. And in the state of Colorado, to my knowledge, I am the first person arrested for filming a police officer in the lobby of a museum, aka a police department. This morning, we'll be going to court virtually. I'm going to share that with you this morning as I can. And I'm going to share some other things with you as well. Many of you may have been up late last night watching me, wondering why am I awake so early. I going to confess that I woke up at 5 o'clock in the morning this morning. My body was so violently against it that it started going into breakdown mode. Basically forcing me back into bed. I was shivering. Just had the shakes and I went back to sleep. Thank you, Ricky G. As people are filing in here, we're gonna set up some things for you to watch. We're gonna have court this morning, like I said. And we have work today also, right? So the job is at hand. The first thing I want to show you this morning is related to the George Floyd protests and the police brutalities that have been happening over the weekend. Many of you have been watching live for the last 4 days. And I want you to see what happened the other day. As soon as, here we go. So this video from Caden Daniel Lara is going to break your head. Here we go. Damn it. What is wrong with my camera this morning? You shot my car with my pregnant wife in it. It's not unlike Denver. We're waiting on the courtroom. Okay, we're in the meeting. We're waiting to hear from them. And again, I want you to see that as you're joining me this morning. I'm trying to get some of my settings on my phone going because I have a hard time seeing right now. Let's clean the lens. Remember, this camera's been pepper sprayed. It's been shot at by police officers extensively this weekend. I've been hit in the head, all parts of my body, and we are just sore as. So, good morning, everybody. Thank you for coming to my court date, which we are waiting to have as soon as the courts turn on the page. This court date that we're having today, I'm going to cover in a second with you. Okay, but first I want you to see this again. Because if you want to know why the protests turned violent in Denver, here's an example.
Are you?
Does that make you mad? Does that make you upset? Are you happy with that? I'm not very happy. You gotta film these fuckers when that shit happens, right? Show what's turning people angry. Our president's been moved to an underground bunker for protests. And I'm still waiting on the courts. So while we're waiting on the courts, let me show you some of the shit they've been pulling these last couple of days. First, we need to have some discovery. Morbid Angel, HP 111, Ann Burr, Ricky G. Good morning. Let's look at some public records, some court filings. But first, a word to my boss. I have to send him a message. My stuff's coming through. No name, good morning. Telling the boss to pick us up, please. Yeah, see that? Pepper balls suck. Right? I'm going to show you Warzone footage, maybe, if we get to it tonight. Today. If you didn't, you can see it live from last night's. We're waiting on the courts. The focus of this morning is here. So we've got a supplemental list of witnesses. Beth McCain, the district attorney, is in this public document naming all the police officers who watched me silently film Ben Garcia behave badly against Eric Brandt. Right? So here's all the people that were there, including Beverly Rodriguez. She's the private security guard who doesn't like to be filmed, even though cameras are on her at all times. Even though I was doing a investigative journalistic piece in regards to cannabis with a medical marijuana license, and her refusal to allow my marijuana into the building. Right? So Ben Garcia has a issue in his past of departing from the truth. So when we get to jury trial, we need to know whether that is going to be an issue. Okay. So we have e-served the public defender's office is basically what's going on here. All right. So that's the witnesses against me. See, I'm not going to stand still. We're going to have some motions filed, which they were. It's a subpoena ducis tecum. And this is what is so important. We need to know where and when and why Ben Garcia, badge number 00-125, has a report for departing from the truth in his record. That's not the good one, though. The good one is this one right here. You are to produce at this time all recordings of communications, including but not limited to written, audio, and video recorded communications regarding the creation of an order prohibiting video recording in the Denver Police Administration building without prior permission from the chief of police. Okay? How did the chief of police come up with the determination that you can't videotape in the lobby of the police department? It's an important question. The reason that it's an important question, as we check our status, let us in the fucking courtroom. It's 8:39. I've been waiting for 9 minutes now, 10 minutes, right? Since before I was supposed to arrive in court. So my investigators are there, but let's focus on the important information there. And that is all communication regarding the creation of an order prohibiting video recording in the Denver Police Administration building without prior permission from the Chief of Police. All materials responsive to the subpoena duces decum should be provided to the court in electronic format. Give us all the emails. You heard this story before, folks? Eric Brandt told you this story before. I want to know what you're communicating about. Why do I want to know what you're communicating about? Because you communicate about me, folks. My name's Brian Loma, and I'm a member of Occupy Denver. I'm a journalist, a gonzo journalist maybe, but I'm a journalist. And I video record what's going on in Denver, in the community, for fact. For fact, I'm injured from police brutality over the weekend. The assault and enforcement of orders to obey martial law. Martial law. And if you don't know Rocky Twain and Mike Stevens, this is a projectile cap. I got a whole box of them downstairs. Rounds of rubber bullets. It's not rubber. It is rubber. I'm going to show you. Just give me a second. This is a rubber bullet. It squeezes. It hits you. It hurts you. This is a foam bullet. Projectile, less than lethal device. Whatever you want to call it. It's got a metal contraption on there, brass. That is the gunpowder, right? That's the blasting mechanism. Last night, while live in downtown Denver, I found a wide variety of them. Okay, they're different weights, they're different sizes. I mean, they're roughly all the same size, the cartridge, but they weigh different amounts. And I'm still waiting to get into court, okay? Just so that you know, we're watching, we're waiting, okay? I might have to tap the stream briefly to switch over to text my lawyer here in a minute. But mentioning my lawyer, we did a subpoena, and we said we want all the emails, because in Denver, the city attorney's office was doing pre-investigative work trying to find criminal charges on Brian Loma. Okay? Brian Loma is an activist, a journalist, a good guy who was video recording the police in the lobby of the police department. He was also possibly recording for other reasons, which we'll learn about today. But in the meantime, we're waiting for the courts to open on fucking time, right? That's a problem. That's a real problem right now, that I can't see what's going on in the courtroom. And the other cases that are going on, if the courts are open to the public, then they should be open to the public. Yeah, Mike Stevens, We've been being shot at for days from, and you can go back in my video. You can see cops threaten to arrest people from their porches in their own private property videotaping. You can see cops shooting people in a drive-by fashion, right? Gang-related activity, drive-bys, just peppering people as they drive around the city, the downtown area. And Kristen Bronson, city attorney, some others, Nicholas, they're saying that I don't need to see my stuff, my deuces tecum. This one's on Garcia. He participated in the arrest, informing the defendant that filming video inside of the building was in violation of the law, and eventually he detained me, putting me in a chokehold. That motherfucker tried to put me in a chokehold. The defendant served pertaining to his ability to tell the truth. Okay? What do you need to know? Did police officer Garcia walk outside the building and tell Eric Brandt, let's dance? Did that happen? Will he tell the truth on the stand? Why is this important? Because I'm taking him to court. We're taking it to the box. And we're still not there, Renee. So I'm going to reply to my attorney real quick. In this email, reply. I'm online to be let into the courtroom. I will be picked up at 9:30 for work. Please help me get into court. If you can, I'm waiting. Thank you. Did I get some rest, Renee? I'll tell you what I did. I fell asleep this 1 o'clock this morning, and then I woke up at like 5, and my body was violently shaking. It said, no, go back to sleep. So, Joe Cool, I'm alive. You got to see this scarring from 2 nights ago, being hit and assaulted by the police. A bruise on my forehead from 3 days ago. My body is sore, right? Last night on my walk home, threatened with arrest, labeled as the press multiple times. I found a war scene where these are just some of the weaponry that I picked up. Yeah, baby. So, my microphone is muted. My camera screen is muted currently. Maybe I should show my face to the court. Let me in, please. I'm here. So I don't know what's going on with that. I can't get into the courtroom right now. Oh, you know what I should? I should do 2 things. One, I want to finish reading the motions that I received this morning, right, from the judge who was hard at work at 9:30 at last night. But first, let me realize that there's a virtual courtroom, and I could probably also. And so we should call in as well. It's no longer a protest. It seems like a third world country war. Well, when your people are reduced to throwing rocks versus tear gas and Can we go with live video? Can we go with live ammo? Right? That was a question that was asked. I have been informed. Right? No, you can't use real weapons. You can't use real bullets and kill them. Okay, so we're dialing in right now.
Welcome to the audio conferencing center. Please enter a conference ID followed by pound.
So we've got to get that there.
To continue in English, press 1.
Right there.
Para español, presione dos.
And if you want to dial in yourself.
If you're the meeting organizer, press star now.
Oops, I don't want to use that stuff.
After
Dang it.
the tone, please record your name and then press pound.
Brian Loma.
Please wait for the leader to admit you to the meeting. Thank you for your patience.
Now we're in an audio courtroom. You're scared they're gonna... Let's see, we're doing some social experimenting here with doing the courts live, right? Little court social experiment video is just trying to demonstrate that it's all good. The system still works. Yeah, it doesn't though. And let's talk about this because the system doesn't work. And I'm going to show you why it doesn't work. We filed a motion a while back to challenge the constitutionality and the judge this morning said, nah. Let me show you. So this was received by my attorney at 10:30 in the night, in the middle of the night last night, right? So why isn't the judge at the courthouse this morning? Trump said, good morning. You're going to get a rare opportunity. People think I don't have balls. You're carving, but here. Good morning, Port Art Firmer. There's still courts. Is there really courts? Let's find out. The order, motion, defendant's motion to dismiss the case as unconstitutional, as applied and facially. Having reviewed Mr. Loma's motion to dismiss his case as unconstitutional application of CRS subsection 18-9-117 parentheses 1 parentheses C subsections and the restriction of his rights under CRS section 16.3.311. And the people's response, the court finds the following. First of all, I want to tell you that I have not had a hearing. This response has been done prior to the subpoena ducis tecum, requiring the courts to demand the evidence of discovery and how they came about their decision. So the chief of police made an order that says you cannot film the police in the lobby of the police department building, even in the police administration building where we have a museum to the dead cops. You can't take pictures, you can't take video. Okay? But we have a subpoena to produce the evidence of how they came about that decision. And the judge has made a ruling on my motion to dismiss as unconstitutional without holding a hearing. CRS 18-9-117. On August 7th, 2019, Mr. Loma and Eric Brandt entered the Denver Police Department headquarters to pick up property. That is wrong. So the first statement of fact that she asserts in my case with Eric Brandt is an invalid and infactual statement of fact. I did not enter the building with Eric Brandt. Okay? I did not enter the building with Eric Brandt. So the first thing they did was false. However, as we proceeded through the security line, Mr. Brandt began yelling at a security guard. No, he didn't. He said, oh, fuck, they haven't fired this bitch or some shit like that. Okay? She immediately went and got the fucking cops. Then the yelling assumed. Okay? I don't know. Listen, folks, we're going to cover that in a minute, but let me stay on topic. Don't get me off topic. I will cover the Brandt story, the bail, momentarily. So, Loma was not involved in the altercation, but began filming the incident on his cell phone. Also infactual. There are signs posted both outside and inside of DPD headquarters restricting video recording without prior permission from the chief of police. Both parties were arrested. Damn it, I don't remember the Constitution of the United States saying that the chief of police got to give me permission to be the press, to do my job. But I'm just muttering along here. This Colorado revised statute, which was originally written for the Baptists protesting funerals, okay? We're challenging the constitutionality of this statute. The relevant portion, remember they're only taking what they want to use. It is unlawful for any person to enter or remain in any public building or on any public property or conduct himself or herself in or on the same in violation of an order, rule, or regulation concerning any matter prescribed in the subsection 1. Limiting or prohibit.
This meeting is being recorded and or transcribed. Hi.
Hello?
Lisa Pelican, Bridges Liaison.
Hello? Hi, hello?
We're going to just wait for a second for everybody to log on. If it's not your case, please
Nicholas
put on your mute. Is now exiting.
Hello? Yes?
Good morning.
This is Jose.
Please put on your
This
mute,
is-
okay?
My mute's on, just in case you're
Okay,
missing
so,
me.
Mr. Nicholas, you said Larson, did you say?
Lovato.
I'm sorry, Lovato. Okay.
Jose Cabanas?
All right, this is 20M828.
So, while she's going over this, it is unlawful for any person to enter or remain in a public building or on any public property
Ms.
or to
Castellan,
conduct
are you
himself.
here on behalf of the people?
I am, Your Honor.
Okay. And let's see if
They're
we
still
have
not letting
Mr.
me in.
Lovato.
Okay?
Anthony Lovato?
No, my name is Jose Cabanas.
Okay, I'm looking for
sorry.
Anthony Lovato.
Hello? Yes, it's me.
All right.
So, there
Are
is.
you, Mr. Lovato, are you on video or
Restricting-
just phone?
I'm just on the phone.
Okay. Your lawyer, Mr. Nicholas, is here, and Ms. Casterline is here on behalf of the people. How are we proceeding on this matter?
And Your Honor, this morning we'd waive any further advisement, ask the clerk if we're not guilty, please discharge, and set the matter for trial.
Okay, great.
So
Mr.
while they're going
Lovato,
through this, I argue that Section
let me just
117 is
ask you
unconstitutional
also,
on its face and is applied. The statute is presumed constitutional, and I have the burden of proving it's unconstitutionally beyond a reasonable doubt. I have a subpoena ducis tecum for the information, and they haven't responded to the subpoena yet. Okay?
So, Mr. Lovato, I'm going to note.
So I have asserted that I have a right to film the police interactions.
Okay, I understand.
Depriving me of that right infringes on my rights. My argument hinges largely on a person's right to free speech and the right to record matters of public interest. Cops behaving badly is public interest.
You certainly don't have to, and if you don't, we'll already have a trial date that's set for you. We're going to give you those dates now.
The issue of protected speech depends largely on the type of property where the speech occurs. Public forums and not public forums. Is the police department not a public fucking forum?
8th, 14th, or 15th?
Okay.
October 15th, please.
Okay, we'll set your trial, Mr. Lovato, for October 15th. We're also going to give you a disposition date.
But I am the press, and they have always attacked me, Porter Farmer, and that's the point.
The conference will be October 9th.
They don't care about the law. So, the police stations are devoted to protecting public safety, except this one's got a lobby, and it's a museum.
Tuesday or Friday in July for disposition, Mr. Nicholas.
And you can't just rule on this without seeing the evidence. What did the chief of police do?
July 14th for disposition.
Why did he make the determinations? Okay?
Mr. Lovato, you have all those dates?
The example of the first defendant's legal aid versus the
Stay in touch with your
city of
lawyer,
Chicago
he's ready for all of that.
is holding in part that the
And
interior of a
then,
police station is not a public
we will
forum.
see you hopefully in person on the next court date, okay? Mr. Nichols, you know the pre-trial order, the motions are due at that time. And we will hopefully see you all in person then. And what was your other case, Mr. Nichols?
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lovato.
Via Gomez, Your Honor.
So we're still not getting access to the video. Right? We're in here.
Via Gomez. Miss Via Gomez, are you present?
Yes, I am.
Are you on video or on the phone?
On the phone.
Okay. And your attorney is present. Mr. Nichols,
Are you on video or on the phone? Well,
because my
can't be in video if they don't let me in.
this case. So tell me what we're doing today.
So, Your Honor, we're at I believe, a pre setting, and at this time, we ask the court to waive any further advisement if they're not guilty, please send the matter for trial.
Okay. So Miss Via Gomez, you consent to appearing by phone today?
Yes.
So I'm going to enter your not guilty plea. I should have noted before on the last case, speedy trial is December.
This is a live court hearings. That's correct. HIPAA connection.
We're going to set a trial
supposed to be
date
in
for you
video.
probably in October. We'll also set a disposition date, which will be sometime probably in July, where you can potentially resolve your case. You don't have to, and then you'll know what your trial date is already today, okay?
Okay.
Do you have any questions?
No, not at this time.
Okay.
And Your Honor,
Mr.
just for the record, that this is case number 19M08560.
Thank you for saying that. All right, so we'll note the not guilty plea in the speedy trial. And Mr. Nichols, do you have a date in those October dates I gave you previously that might work? It was 7th, 8th, 14th, or 15th.
No, we set this one for the 8th, Your Honor.
Okay, so the pre-trial will be October 2nd. And how about a disposition date?
Well, because I need
July?
to nullify the
July
jury
14th.
for trial. And I need to
Okay.
educate people about their rights to
Miss,
nullify the jury.
Via Gomez, those are all the dates that you have set, okay? Make sure
Okay,
you
I'm-
write those down. Go ahead.
I was gonna just verify, what was the October date?
October 8th is your trial date,
Okay.
okay? So we have a date before that in July, July 14th. Actually, you have two October dates. One of them is the 8th, which is your trial date, We also have pretrial conferences the Friday before that, just to make sure everybody's ready for trial. So that's October 2nd, and then you'll have July 14th, okay? And I'm certain your lawyer's writing those dates down if you need confirmation of that, okay?
Okay.
All right, ma'am, hopefully we'll see you in person on the next date. Good luck to you.
Okay, thank you. Take care.
You too, thank you.
Bye. And Your Honor, the people are ready on a case, if the court is ready. On Larison, Lara.
Even on my docket.
Anthony Lovato.
The now filed a motion to dismiss this case, but Miss Larison is on the call, so want to call the case.
Okay, could you say the case number for me?
20M00400.
And the first name?
Kathleen.
Okay. Miss Larison, I think I see you right here.
These are first appearances. So they get their 90-day.
I think you're on mute if you want to turn that off. All right. How are you this morning? Can you unmute her?
Still don't have me in the courtroom. But while we're waiting, let's go back to the.
Okay. Can you hear me okay, Miss Larison?
So the police station is devoted to protecting public safety.
I'm going to tell you that
The interior of the police station is not a public forum, says the example of case
so
first
your
defense
case is
legal aid
over
versus the
and
city of
done.
Chicago.
And Miss Casterline, what was the nature of the case?
Your Honor, it was a driving under restraint case.
As such, the DPT has the authority
so your
from
case is
barring
and if you had any fines or
no hearing,
fees on that, I'm going to waive those for you, okay?
no subpoena to hear
Thank
all
you,
the
ma'am. Good luck
evidence
to you.
of how they came to that conclusion. Right? None of that.
And Judge, I am ready to call one case.
Okay, good morning, Randall. Go ahead.
I believe Miss Sierra is on the line, and that's case 19M10080.
Elizabeth Villa Gomez is now exiting.
Did you say 4299?
No, 10080.
Argue that it's overbroad and void for
that one
vagueness,
line.
but my attorney does
All
not.
right, Miss Sierra,
Yes, ma'am.
can you hear
Give it
me
the
okay?
posted signage outside the building which says that the
And are
police can
you
just
on
make a
video
ruling
or on the
that they
phone?
can't
I'm on the phone.
Okay. Do you have video?
Well, I have it on my phone, but I don't think it would work with this.
Okay. All right. We'll do our best. So your lawyer, Miss Crandall, is here. Miss Crandall, how are we proceeding on this?
Judge, this morning, Miss Sierra would like to enter a not guilty plea and to have the case set for trial, pretrial conference, and disposition.
Okay. And Miss Sierra, obviously we're in the middle of a pandemic here, and so that's why we're doing remote court. Are you waiving any objection to that or consenting to having your appearance by phone?
No, I'm not, oh yeah, sorry, I am consenting.
Okay. So what we'll do is note your not guilty plea will enter today. Speedy trial will be December 1st.
Thank you, Frank, for that
We're
information.
going to get 2 different or 3 different
Again,
court dates for you
what I
today,
want you to
okay?
see,
One of them will be a
since
disposition
they're
date.
talking
so
about
that's
her
the day where
case,
you
and we
can
don't really care about that one.
have an agreement on your case.
We have an agreement on the case. Well, if you agree that we're just going to dismiss the case, then yeah, that's an agreement, and we can dispo and
If you
just
don't
release
have
it.
any sort of agreement, that's totally fine. Your case, you'll know your trial date today also. So Ms. Crandall, we're setting those in October. Do we have a date for Ms. Crandall? October 14th, Ms. Crandall will be your trial date. So Ms. Sierra, that's your trial. We'll also have a pretrial conference, which will be on October 9th. That's a date just to make sure everybody's ready for your trials, okay? And then we'll have a date in July, which is a date where you can potentially have an agreement on your case. And like I said, you don't have to. If you don't, you already know what your trial date will be in October. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to tell you your dates again. July 13th is the disposition day. Ms. Crandall, any motions are due at that time, in the people. The trial date is October 14th, and your pretrial conference is October 9th. So write those down, okay?
Okay.
All right, and hopefully on July 13th, we'll see you in person.
Okay.
And good luck to you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Your Honor, when the court is ready, I can next call Mr. William Wright.
Okay, good morning.
Good morning, Judge. Your Honor, I do believe Lisa Pelican with Bridges is appearing right now.
Okay.
Lisa can confirm that.
Yes. Good morning, Your Honor. This is Lisa Pelican.
Okay, good morning, and this is 17M10054. I'm going to assume we don't have Mr. Wright.
Your Honor, no, we do not have Mr. Wright. However, I was actually able to speak with him a couple of times last week. He does have a cell phone. I think something fell through. When I had talked to him, I hadn't yet had the phone number to give him to call into court. And so I just wasn't able to do that over the weekend to get a hold of him. However, I did talk to him about this court date, and I do have consent to appear on his behalf. So if we could waive his appearance today.
Okay. All right, perfect. I'll note the waiver. Any objection to that, Ms. Casterline?
No, Your Honor.
And how do you want to proceed, Ms. Gaddis?
Your Honor, it doesn't look like I have not received any new information on this case except for a status. Lisa, I don't know if you have any new information on how this is going.
It looks like they're requesting a continuance until June 30th.
And that's fine. We have no objection, Your Honor.
Neither do we. I think we should try for July, and maybe we will.
That would be even better, yeah.
How about July 10th?
Okay.
Does that work with you, Miss? I got your first name, Miss Lisa.
Yes, it does. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, we'll set that on July 10th. Thank you for
Your
being
Honor.
here.
And Your Honor, while I'm still
Lisa Pelican,
hearing,
Bridges liaison.
is now I did hear one of my clients, Jose Cabanas, appear. However, I have not been able to get a hold of him. Mr. Cabanas, I don't know if there's, I just don't know if there's a way for me to tell Mr. Cabanas to please call me so that I can.
Right. Okay. Mr. Cabanas, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, great. So your lawyer, Ms. Gaddis, is here, but she needs to speak with you privately. So, Ms. Gaddis, can you give us your phone number for him to call you now?
Yes, Your Honor. I actually put it in the group chat, the messages, so that if he was able to see it. But it's 303-620-4999. My extension is 1151.
Okay, Mr. Cabanas, did you hear that?
Yes, ma'am.
So your lawyer needs to talk to you, okay, in advance of our hearing.
Okay.
So you call her, and then we'll call your case in a little bit, okay?
Okay, can I just go home right now? Because I really don't have service on my phone, and can I just get home and call you guys back?
Sure. How far is home?
Okay, thank you.
Oh, Mr. Cabanas,
Yes?
if you
How
could
far
just
is your house?
My house is I live on Colfax and Beeler, so I'm right here in downtown right now.
Oh, okay, so it won't be far. In the meantime, can you call Ms. Gaddis?
Yes.
Okay.
please call me as soon as you can, Mr. Cabanas.
All right, thank you.
I'll call you back. Thank you.
And Judge, I believe
Jose
that
Cabana?
Florence is on the line, but he will
now exiting.
Okay.
5 participants are now joining.
We're going to join some people and take a breath here, and then we have Flores Mora. Do you know? I think we have an interpreter.
I don't care about the fan, folks. But what I want you to see is that my motion to dismiss has been denied without a hearing.
I'm on through video.
Still don't have us in the video.
Baby, just keep saying.
Robert Garnica.
You're fine. I'm just taking written notes. Welcome to all of you that just joined. We have, let me ask if we have a Spanish interpreter on the line. I don't think so, so we'll get one. Ms. Crandall, do you have anything else? Pardon me?
We don't need a Spanish interpreter.
Is that Mr. Flores?
This is Mr. Flores Mora.
Mr. Flores Mora, you don't need an interpreter?
No, I don't. What's not that? No, sorry, that's me. I need an interpreter. I don't know who's saying I don't.
Oh, okay. I'm not sure who's saying that.
Yes, I need one.
What's your name?
Yes, Dennis, that is a very, very true thing. We must have a court date.
Okay,
We must have a
an
judge.
interpreter for you.
We must have all the things that we need.
We have Robert Garnica on the line as well.
Okay. That's Miss Crandall's case. Miss Crandall, are you ready to call that matter?
And Judge, I actually don't have an application for Mr. Garnica, so I won't be calling that this morning unless he would like to apply for the Public Defender's Office, in which case I can advise him of how to do that if he would like to call me.
All right, Mr. Garnica,
Yes.
this is 20M1094. Are you on video, sir?
No, audio.
Okay. And have you made your application to the Public Defender's Office?
Yes, I have.
Thank you.
No, I made it up and I gotta turn it in.
Say that one more time.
Yeah, I have it made up, I just haven't turned it in.
Oh, so back in March 3rd, we set it over for 2 weeks for you to get that done. I know things went a little bit crazy after that point, but I think you can provide that via email. Is that correct, Ms. Crandall?
Yes.
Okay. So, Mr. Garnica, you can get your information into the Public Defender's Office. I need you to do that pretty quickly so we can get your case recalled and get your case moving, okay?
Okay.
So can we set this over for about 2 weeks so that in the meantime you can get your application in?
Yes.
Okay. And Ms. Crandall, do you want to give him your extension so maybe he can talk to you if he has questions about that?
Yes, I can do that. I'm also wondering, I don't know if this applies to other people who are on the line, but I can just say the email address on the record that where the applications need to be emailed, if that's helpful.
Go ahead.
So it's denver@coloradodefenders.us.
Okay.
And that's the full word Colorado, not just CO.
And that's where they email application?
Completed applications, yes. And I think the application itself can be accessed on our website.
I do have the application.
Okay.
Okay, great. So get that turned in to the address that Ms. Crandall just stated. It was the denver@coloradodefenders.us. Is that it, Ms. Crandall?
Yes.
Okay. And they should be able to help you. I think there's probably information on their website as well. And we're going to get a status date in about 2 weeks.
Okay.
We'll set this on June, why don't we set, June 15th for status, okay? I'm pretty sure we'll still be virtual by then, so if you have video, that helps, just so we can see you. But get your application in, and then we'll at least hear from you on June 15th, okay?
Okay.
All right, sir, thank you.
Thank you.
What time is it?
8:30.
Okay.
Okay.
Robert Garnier.
Is now exiting.
Ms. Crandall?
Yes, Judge, I believe that Mr. Loma is on the line.
We're going to do our interpreter matter, I guess. Let's do that first.
Yep,
Yeah.
I'm here, and I have to go to work.
Okay. Flores Mora. Okay, so we have Mr. Flores Mora, sir. Do you have video?
I don't.
Okay. And do we have the interpreter?
Yes, good morning, Your Honor. Paola Balcázar.
Okay, thank you for being here. And Ms. Crandall appears on behalf of Mr. Flores Mora. There's 19M330.
All right, stand, folks.
And Ms. Crandall, how are we proceeding today?
I'm healing my wounds.
So we are set for a disposition and a motions hearing today.
I'm hurting really bad. Putting lotion on.
Oh, sorry, I didn't know if the interpreter wanted to.
Yeah.
Neosporin. We're waiting for the judge.
Interpret.
It'd be a lot better if you're in video, but it'd be a lot better if you let us in. By the way,
We
if
have
you
not reached a disposition.
want to get in on these calls yourself,
Okay.
And so I think we
Let's
probably
talk
need
to
to
my-
address whether or not we are going forward this afternoon to the motions hearing.
Okay. And are the people ready to proceed on that?
Your Honor, Rebecca Casterline for the people. The motion hearing is just a 404B motion.
Okay. So it seems like we should be able to do that. Ms. Crandall?
I was just waiting for the interpreter.
Oh,
Ok. Está hablando la señora Fiscal. Están aquí para la audiencia de documentos. Parece que se va a poder proceder con esto el día de hoy.
And the people are ready for the 404B motion this afternoon.
Y el fiscal está listo para el pedimento esta tarde.
and Ms. Crandall, is your client willing to consent to having that motions hearing virtually this afternoon?
So Judge, at this point, we would not be consenting, and I think Mr. Flores Mora does not have access to a video device and would not be able to
Great.
and hear that way.
Is now joining.
you could be joining this phone call and saying free Eric Brandt every time.
Proceder en esta audiencia de manera virtual. Señoría, nosotros podemos acceder a proceder con esta audiencia de manera virtual. Que no tiene video en este momento.
All right, has the defense filed an objection to the 404B?
I have not, no.
Okay, well, I think what I'll do, given that, I will just rule based on the motions.
So if you want to file an objection to the 404B by the end of tomorrow, I'll just
Unknown
rule.
participant is now exiting.
And then we have a trial date set June 24th. And then we'll have to address that also, I guess.
Okay, and I will file a written motion. I think we would still be requesting a hearing on the matter, but I will include that in my written motion.
I don't think there's a need for testimony, right? It's an offer of proof, Ms. Casterline? And wait for the interpreter.
Thank you. Y ya para la defensa ya se tramitó la 404B, una objeción todavía no se ha tramitado, entonces lo que se va a hacer es que se va a agendar para julio.
Your Honor, that is my understanding. This is Ms. Moore's case. But my understanding is that it's an offer of proof.
Okay.
Y su señoría ese es el entendimiento de esta
All right, do you want to address the trial date as well while we're at it?
También también quisieran hablar acerca de la fecha de juicio mientras estamos aquí.
We might as well, Your Honor.
Okay. The other option is we can hear it on the 19th if you think there's any point in trying to continue to resolve this. Otherwise, I think we should just address it now.
La otra opción es que lo podríamos llevar a cabo el 19, si no vamos a llegar a otra, no lo podemos tratar ahora.
Otra vez puedes repetirlo porque no lo escuché.
Can you repeat that one more time? I could not hear very well.
So, Mr. Flores Mora, you have a trial date that's set June 24th.
Señor Flores, usted tiene una fecha de audiencia para el 24 de junio.
It won't be possible to have your trial on that day. So I'm going to address that right now.
No va a ser posible llevar a cabo su audiencia en esa fecha, entonces vamos a tratar este punto ahora mismo.
And Judge, this issue resetting the trial was addressed one time before. At that time, I did fully advise Mr. Flores of all the issues at play and of his rights. I have not re-advised him in light of the trial needing to be reset again, and so I think I would request at least an opportunity to have that discussion with him before it's reset.
Y su señoría, esta audiencia ya había sido reagendada o aplazada y yo pude asesorar al señor Flores en ese momento acerca de todos los asuntos, los derechos que tenía en cuanto a este aplazamiento, pero en esta situación no lo he podido hacer y no le he podido dar su asesoramiento una vez más, entonces no sé si debe haber una discusión de esto.
All right, Mr. Flores Mora, it's not possible at this time to have a trial in June, given the fact that the Supreme Court essentially has told us we don't have jurors until at least July.
Entonces no se va a poder llevar a cabo en este momento.
No jurors till July.
En junio, la Suprema Corte nos dice que no va a haber servicio disponible de jurado por lo menos hasta julio.
So I will have to reset your case. Does that make sense?
Entonces sí voy a tener que aplazar su caso y reagendarlo. ¿Le hace sentido esto? ¿Le suena bien?
Judge, I think my request at this time is that we address this by way of written motions after I have had an opportunity to advise.
Ms. Randall, I'm just advising your client for a minute, okay? You can advise him even more when we're done. But I don't think there's any reason to set another court date just to get a trial date. So, Mr. Flores Mora, do you understand that because of all of this, the court will be resetting your trial date?
Señor, pues entonces usted comprende que a causa de todo
I would suggest that Defend is off his rocker right now.
Está bien.
Tried asking me for $100 by text message saying that I stole
What I will
from him.
also note is that the court is going to declare a mistrial on this matter. We'll reset it within 90 days.
También quiero hacernos
August 5th.
También quiero hacer notar que se va a declarar un juicio nulo en este caso y se va a aplazar para el 5 de agosto.
And the pretrial conference will be on July 31st.
Defend
Y la
draws a
conferencia
pension.
previa a la audiencia se va a
Disability
llevar
for
a
being
cabo
half deaf.
el 31 de julio.
Speedy trial will be told between those two
Which one's
trial
more
dates.
darker?
Y el juicio sin demora se va a llevar a cabo entre estas dos fechas.
And
Your
Mr. Flores Mora, your lawyer will talk to you much more about that. I'll note the objection from the defense. Ms. Casterline, did you have something to add?
I just had a clarification question.
Señor Flores Mora, su abogada va a hablar más a fondo con usted acerca de esto y voy a hacer notar la objeción que hubo por parte de la defensa. ¿Hay algo más, señora abogada?
Your Honor, I just wanted to clarify which two dates will speedy trial toll between the original trial date of May 21st and the new date?
Actually, I'm gonna make it today.
Nada más quiero ver cuál es la nueva fecha, que era el 21 de mayo a la nueva fecha y de hecho lo voy a poner en la fecha del día de hoy.
And just for clarification, what was the new trial date that the court?
August 5th.
Okay, and so I think the record I'd like to make at this time is that I will be filing a written objection, and we are objecting to the trial date itself as well.
Okay, because when did you want to do the trial?
And so the calculations that I have, again, without being able to fully advise Mr. Flores Mora and really look into this case, I believe his speedy trial deadline is July 31st.
Okay, so the court is finding mistrial today based on Rule 24 and the inability to have his trial on June 24th. Do you see some possible way of having his trial that I'm missing?
Yes, Judge, the orders that have been issued by the Supreme Court do make it possible for judges to petition to have jurors assembled. And so our position is that we would be objecting to the declaration of a mistrial for that reason. And because no record has been made as to the unavailability of jurors. Or findings have been made, I guess, is.
Let the interpreter interpret.
Thank you. Su señoría, nada más quiero hacer notar que nosotros vamos a hacer una objeción a la nueva fecha de audiencia, ya que no se ha encontrado alguna en acta o en el expediente en donde diga que no hay disponibilidad de jurados en este momento.
All right. So just to supplement that, I am finding a mistrial. The orders that are in place involve not only the fact that we don't have jurors coming to the courthouse, people are not even allowed to gather more than 10 people, which is impossible for us to have a jury pool. And so I'm making a finding that at this time it's impossible to have a trial on June 24th. So we're resetting this. Speedy trial will be told between today and August 5th. I will issue an order on the 404B, and Mr. Flores Mora will see you on July 31st.
Entonces, lo que voy a hacer el día de hoy es que voy a declarar el juicio nulo, ya que el gente es mayor de 10 personas para el jurado. Entonces se va a refrendar la fecha del 24 de junio y el juicio sin demora se va a llevar a cabo entre la fecha de hoy y el 5 de agosto y se va a también hacer notar la orden 404B. Entonces, señor Mora, vemos el 31 de julio.
All right, anything else on that matter?
Nothing from the people, Your Honor.
And none at this time from the defense.
All right, and Mr. Flores, Ms. Crandall will speak to you further about all of that if you have any questions, okay?
Señor Flores, la señora va a hablar más con usted acerca de este asunto si usted tuviera preguntas, ¿ok?
Ok, está bien.
All right, thank you, sir.
Gracias, señor.
Ok, muchísimas gracias.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. Do we have Mr. Geeman on the line?
Hello?
Mr.
Yes, Your Honor. Yes, I'm here, Your Honor.
Good morning. I see your client here waiting patiently, so I thought I'd see if you were here. Are you all ready?
Thank you. And Your Honor, to be clear, this is Levi Price from Geeman Criminal Defense.
Oh,
My
okay.
registration is 4938.
Okay, and are you on a video?
Pedro Flores Mora.
Is now
I
exiting.
believe I am on audio only right now. I can try to get the video going here. Just one moment, Your Honor.
And I apologize, Your Honor, which case is this?
This is Burleson, and it's 20M2162.
Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Burleson.
You said Mr.
I'm not
Olson?
prepared, John.
Oh,
All right. All right, Mr. Price, good morning to you.
Good morning, Your Honor.
We are set for plea and setting on this. How did you all want to proceed?
Your Honor, we still have our blood test out. We're going to ask for a continuance. We also need to confer with the district attorney.
Ms. Casterline?
The people don't have any objection to that, Your Honor. And Mr. Price, do you have our contact information?
Are you the one handling the case?
It's not assigned at this point, but I am one of the attorneys in the courtroom, so I'm happy to communicate with you.
That would be fine. We'll reach out.
Thank you.
So normally we wouldn't set this out so far, but nothing about anything is normal at the moment. So we'll set this on July 7th. Does that work for all of you?
Just one moment, Your Honor.
It works for the people.
And July 7th. No, there'd be a conflict. I'm in Adams in the morning and Jefferson in the afternoon. Would it be via video, and could we do it at 10 o'clock?
It hopefully won't be by video, but we could also do the 10th.
This
or the 13th.
court date is for myself. It is because I videotaped police officers in the police administration building who were behaving badly toward Eric Brandt, a person who entered a building not with me, but after me. And we're supposed to have a constitutionality hearing.
The 13th.
And
The 13th
all of this has been jacked.
Mr.
So
Burleson, does the 13th
I want a jury
work for
trial
you?
in person. The court,
All right, so we'll
which
set
you
your
can
case on
reach
July 13th at 8:30.
in these
and I guess I should
settings
ask you,
right here.
Do you consent to having this virtual appearance today, sir?
through the end of June.
All right. So we'll see all of you hopefully in person on July 13th. Okay?
Thank you, Your Honor.
Trial's being set in
All right,
July.
take care. Thank you.
Thanks.
Christine, you're muted.
Yes, it's she. Hello? Hello?
Right.
I think Ms. Gaddis is trying to sign in, but I can call Mr. Loma's case.
All right, Mr. Loma, it's 19
Is
Mr.
now
Lopez?
joining.
19M6819. Mr. Loma is on my video. Good morning, Mr. Loma.
Good morning, Judge.
All right. Ms. Crandall is here for you. You see Miss Crandall?
Is now exiting.
Okay. And Miss Casterline, are you appearing for the people?
I am, Your Honor.
Okay. So let me just pull this up.
For those of you following at home,
We have a number of things to address here.
we have a number of things to address.
We are set for pretrial conference. We had some records subpoenaed, some motions issues, and a trial on June 3rd. So and Miss Crandall, where do you want to start?
So I guess as far as just things that are easier to address on the front end. I believe that motions were filed by both parties regarding the pretrial conference and trial date. I think there was a motion for a mistrial and then an objection on our part.
Okay. And Mr. Loma, let me ask you this, first of all. Today, like I said, we have a number of different things that we're set for, right? We have return on subpoena, pretrial conference because your trial is June 3rd, and there are motions that are outstanding. Do you consent, at least for the purpose of figuring out what we're doing this morning, and maybe taking care of some of these issues, agree to appear virtually? And I think you might be muted.
My attorney has all instructions, and I consent to her direction.
Okay, Ms. Casterline. I'm sorry, Ms. Crandall, what is that?
We did discuss this morning, he's consenting to a virtual appearance for the purposes of the matters that are at issue this morning, yes.
Okay. All right, so I'll note Mr. Loma's consent. And then so I'm going to start with the defendant's motion to dismiss the case. The court prepared a written order, which I don't know, has that been sent? That's been sent to the parties. So that issue is addressed. I also have motions to quash from the city attorney's office, which I need to, go ahead.
If I may just briefly on the court's written order, I did receive that last night around 10 p.m. I have read it. I have not had an opportunity to sort of respond or I may be filing a motion regarding that, but we would at this point be objecting to not having a hearing on the matter. That was something that we requested in our original motion, and we will still be making that request. Okay. I guess that may fall into the category of a motion to reconsider at this point.
Well, both parties had an opportunity to file motions. I never received a reply from the defense. The people filed a response in March, I think. So you all had ample opportunity. I'm pretty sure that I might have said on the last court date that I would issue an order. So the motion to reconsider for that purpose is denied. I don't think there's any reason that you're entitled to have additional argument than what was already put in all of the motions, which were significant motions.
If we don't have discovery, we can't have our motions. Discovery has not been provided.
Filed, but there's that issue. We have, did you get the motions to quash from the city attorney's office on the, okay. Any response to that? They're not here, are they here?
I am here, Your Honor, for the city attorney, Nicholas Hartman, 53999.
Oh, good. Welcome.
Sorry, I was trying to send you before I was ready.
All right, so Mr. Hartman filed motions to quash the subpoenas. Do you have any response, Ms. Crandall?
Yes, Judge. And so there were two of them. I'm not sure if the court has a...
Let's start with the request that you made on the officer. Tell me what information you have that would require the court to even do an in-camera review.
Sure. So I think our position, first of all, is that this is material that is subject to be disclosed to the defense under Rule 16, Part 1A2, as well as Part 1C. We would also take the position that this is information that should be disclosed under Brady versus Maryland and under CRS 2472-303, which that statute specifically states that internal investigation, I mean, I'm not going to read the entire statute, but essentially that this is the type of material that should be disclosed to the defense by the prosecution, first of all, but that should be, if in the constructive possession of the prosecution, should be disclosed to us. This is, I can address the Spikestra's prongs, but as far as a reasonable likelihood that the subpoena materials exist, in the witness list that was disclosed to us, there was an asterisk noting this particular officer's name. and saying that there is a reference IAB number 2004-020030, and the name of that file is Departing from the Truth. Information about the truthfulness of an officer is directly relevant to my ability to effectively represent Mr. Loma at trial, to effectively cross-examine, his right to process, and to the effective assistance of counsel. And so that information, if it does have any relevance to this officer's ability to tell the truth, would be relevant. I would also note that this particular officer did play a large role in this case. He was an officer who detained Mr. Loma. He was an officer who says in his reports that he informed Mr. Loma about the policy at issue, and then that he then received a response from Mr. Loma, words and actions regarding his advisal of Mr. Loma. And so those are things that are all incredibly relevant to this trial and should be admissible if this officer has any history of not telling the truth, for us to be able to effectively combat and cross-examine him and potentially impeach him at the trial. I would note that this sort of is the method by which these materials should be disclosed to the defense. This, in terms of the third prong of Spextra, whether or not the materials are otherwise procurable in advance of trial for the exercise of due diligence. This is our attempt at due diligence to obtain these documents that will be necessary for the trial. And I think that we are attempting to, understanding that the trial date will likely be pushed back, we are attempting to get these materials now, if possible, in order to not unreasonably delay the trial later. And as far as this not being something that is made in, a request that's made in good faith, again, I would just note that we have reason to believe that these materials exist because of the disclosures that we were given.
Okay. Any response? I've read your motion, Mr. Hartman. Do you have any response to that?
Yes, Your Honor. Just similarly to what's in my motion, we do hear the defense discussing that possible relevance, but this charge was for unlawful conduct on public property. There were various other officers present at the time. We don't feel that Officer Garcia's truthfulness or untruthfulness is relevant to whether or not Mr. Loma was unlawfully there.
Okay. With respect to that subpoena, I'm going to make a finding that given the fact that there was an asterisk by this officer's name that Ms. Crandall has stated as an officer of the court, that there is some indication of a potential, let me find the language, departing from the truth concerns. I'm going to make a finding that they have met that part of the standard, that the required information could certainly be relevant, and that there may be a compelling need for that information, but I am going to order an in-camera review of those records on Officer Garcia pursuant to Martinelli. I'll review those records, and then if there's anything in those records that should be released, I will do that with whatever redactions may be necessary and provide those to the court. Does anyone have a record to make on that?
Your Honor, just a quick question, just kind of in these virtual times, is there a best way to get you something to review in camera virtually, direct email or something along that line?
Yes, we can give you our direct email.
Awesome, thank you.
Or if anyone is at your office, certainly we could take it.
Okay.
We think you could do it via email if that works.
Great, thanks.
Okay. And then with respect to the other subpoena, Ms. Crandall, do you have a record on that?
Yes, Judge, I do. So I think that our hope was to receive materials which would be relevant, very important to our arguments at the motions hearing regarding the constitutionality of the statute under which Mr. Loma has been charged. And Judge, I think that as far as the information that we have, that there may be some relevant materials that should be incorporated or considered in our argument regarding the constitutionality. We do have some written communication. I don't know whether there would be others. I believe there would be written communications regarding the creation of this policy. But we do have some written communications from the members in the police department, including Deputy Chief Archer, who has talked about the implementation of this policy and the creation of this policy in the first place, specifically noting that there have been recent incidents involving persons entering police facilities and wanting to record the lobby and persons in it, and that as a result of those recent incidents back in June of 2019, this policy was then created prohibiting people from recording in the lobby of this particular police facility. And I do have reason to believe that Mr. Loma was involved in incidents that could have led to the creation of this policy. And the memo also notes First Amendment audits which had been conducted specifically on the 16th Street Mall and in and outside of government buildings. That was another reason that this policy was specifically implemented. Again, those were actions that Mr. Loma was involved in through Occupy Denver. And so we do have reason to believe that there would be discussions specifically of creating that may have had to do with preventing whether or not it was Mr. Loma specifically, but specifically members of Occupy Denver from being in these spaces. And it is our position that that would be relevant to an argument about the constitutionality of this rule created under the statute, because whether or not the rule was created in an arbitrary way and whether or not it was properly implemented, properly promulgated, and properly essentially put into place. I would note that along with that, the memo that I noted, there is also an email that we have from the member of the city attorney's office who has again specifically mentioned Mr. Loma's name. And so again, it would go to that same argument that these policies were not created in a proper way and are therefore unconstitutional.
What do you mean in a proper way?
In a way that was either arbitrary or capricious, or that did not properly provide for the reason, or excuse me, the language in this statute requires that orders, rules, or regulations be, quote, reasonably necessary for the administration, protection, and maintenance of a public building. From our perspective, reasoning that goes into why this particular regulation was, or I guess it's an order, was put into place. Having that information is the only way that we can know whether that order was reasonably necessary for the administration, protection, and maintenance of a public building. I think that assumptions can be made about why that order was put into place, but without knowing the communications that went into creating that order, it is impossible for us to know whether this was created in a way that would be unreasonable and that would not be necessary for the administration, protection, and maintenance of a public building.
Your Hartman?
Yeah, Your Honor. So just to speak on the site just now, number 5, the city does feel that this is a general fishing expedition, in part because of what Mistrial just said. Prong number 3, the materials are not otherwise procurable reasonably in advance of trial. Prong number 4, the party cannot properly prepare for trial without such production. From what she's just said, it sounds like she has plenty of access to these files already without using a subpoena. We feel that this subpoena is just a further expedition into digging into things that, frankly, even the city itself, without doing a full email review, we don't know if those files may or may not exist.
And Judge, just on that note, we have received some of the materials that I mentioned through statutes that allow public disclosure of materials, but the materials that we were disclosed are redacted in part, and specifically redacted in part in a way that leads us to believe that there may be relevant information in the parts that were redacted. And so that's part of why we're making this request as well.
Okay. All right. So I reviewed the motion filed by both parties. I also obviously reviewed all of the issues of constitutionality, both as applied and facially. And listening to the argument, what you originally stated was, Ms. Crandall, was that your hope was that you would find some information. And I do think it is a fishing expedition, and I don't think it's relevant. I don't think that this
I object.
have been satisfied, and so that subpoena to produce is denied.
Oh my. I am so pissed off right now.
Do we have other motions?
This court is going to be
that we
recused.
need to do today?
Your Honor, if I may.
Yeah, this is Danny Lopez.
Okay, sir, hang on a second. We're in the middle of Mr. Loma's case, but I lost Mr. Loma. Is he on here still?
Okay. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I'm here. I hid my screen because I was not pleased.
Is your
Honor.
okay? Well, maybe I appreciate it. But can you come back?
I'm here.
Okay. Any other issues that we need to address, Ms. Crandall?
I don't think at this time, other than just some ruling on the motions regarding the trial date.
Okay, let me just do something here.
Okay, we'll be appealing that. Don't worry. My lawyer's good. You just watched her.
Is Mr. Hartman on the line still?
Yes, Your Honor.
When can you get me the records to review on the officer?
Sure, I think DPD can get quickly to you. To just a matter of how we can get them to you kind of in this weird virtual conduct. We'll probably email them in the next couple hours after this trial, after this hearing.
All right, thank you. And unless
Your
you
Honor,
want
if
us,
I may.
you don't have to. And who was that?
Mr. Custodian, the Custodian of Records, Denver Police Department Civil Liability Section.
Well, hello?
Hello. I just need to confer with Attorney Hartman for a moment, offline by
Okay.
phone. It'll just take a moment.
Okay.
Nick, I'll call you now.
So, respectfully, Your Honor, my boss is awaiting me outside. Can we have a new court date?
I'm sorry, say that again?
My employer is outside my building waiting for me. Do we have a date?
Okay. So we need to address this. Your trial date is June 3rd. Obviously, given, and I have seen all the motions that were filed on this, but Mr. Loma, sadly, we cannot have your trial this week. As much as I think everybody would like to.
Well, we got plenty of time to get those emails, right?
I'm not sure what you're referring to, but I'm guessing your lawyer does. So that's stuff you might want to talk with her about, okay?
Your Honor, the city have something to say in regards to those police files whenever you're ready.
Okay, go ahead.
So I just conferred offline with Denver Police Department. We have a PDF ready for you, but there's some analog tape files that essentially need to be digitized, and that will take a few days. So we can get you the PDF as soon as possible, but if you want those kind of video files digitized, it will take a few days to get them all. The materials in the video are the same that are in the PDF, but obviously video versus written.
Okay.
So we can't know what the police are doing,
If you can just
George
get them to
Floyd.
me by the end of the week, I think.
Can't record them.
Great, thank you.
All right, thank you. So with respect to the trial, Ms. Crandall, you have an
Can't talk
objection
about
to
them.
continuing trial and finding a misdemeanor.
We have an objection to,
Pardon me?
we have an objection to finding a mistrial.
Okay. And Ms. Casterline, any additional record you want to make?
No, Your Honor.
All right, so Mr. Loma, obviously we can't have your trial on Tuesday, Wednesday, I think it is. And given the circumstances of the orders that are in place and the health crisis that we're in the middle of, we don't have jurors. We can't bring jurors in. Court's going to find a mistrial and reset your case within 90 days. And I'll note that speedy trial will be told between today and the next trial date. We have a date. Did you already give it to me? Oh, sorry. Mr. Loma, I think August 6th for your trial date. Does that work for all of you?
Yes, Judge, we can accept that date.
Okay. And Mr. Loma, your pretrial conference will be July 31st. Do you all think we need any other dates?
I mean, Judge, we would be requesting a motion hearing date, but I understand the court's rulings on that.
Okay, but you don't have any new motions to address?
I don't believe so.
Not yet.
Okay. I won't set anything now. If we need to do it later, we can always set something later. Okay?
Thank you.
Mr. Loma, any questions?
No, ma'am. I'll be talking to my attorney soon.
All right, very well.
Thank you.
See you soon.
Your Honor, if we could please.
Happy fuck the cops to everybody. My boss is waiting for me and I gotta go. That was jacked. Ah, that's my outdoors. Okay. We'll talk to you soon. Love you all. Thanks for joining me.